The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Zeth Prime, the Valdari representative, activated the holographic display. His 6 arms trembled slightly, a detail that did not go unnoticed by the assembled delegates from across the galaxy. Esteemed council members, Zeth Prime began, his voice carrying the weight of terrible knowledge. We have discovered why no species in recorded galactic history has ever attempted to hunt humans a second time. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The crystalline hive mind of Zirion pulsed with nervous energy, while the gaseous Nephilim delegates swirled anxiously in their containment suits. Even the ancient Arkelian Empire, whose record stretched back 40,000 years, leaned forward with interest. The humans, Zeth Prime continued, are not the primitive species we believed them to be when we first encountered them 3 cycles ago. The hologram shifted, displaying the lush blue-green world designated as Sol 3 by galactic cartographers, but known to its inhabitants simply as Earth. The planet appeared deceptively peaceful, its continents swathed in white clouds, oceans gleaming like sapphires. When we first made contact, Zeth Prime explained, their technology seemed laughably primitive. No faster-than-light travel, no energy shields, no quantum weaponry. The Valdari High Command classified them as a Class 7 civilization, barely above Stone Age level by our standards. Ambassador Krill of the Serpentine Coalition hissed softly, "Yet you chose to hunt them. Why?" Zeth Prime's primary head lowered in what his species considered an expression of shame. Their physical capabilities appeared adequate for sport. They possessed remarkable endurance, problem-solving abilities, and an unusual capacity for violence. Our hunters sought a challenge. The hologram now displayed footage from the first Valdari hunting expedition. Sleek, predatory ships descending through Earth's atmosphere like metallic wasps. The humans below seemed helpless, their primitive aircraft no match for Valdari technology. The initial hunt proceeded as expected, Zeth Prime continued. We abducted specimens from various regions. Warriors, athletes, survivors from what they called special forces. Our hunters released them on Kepler 442b, a harsh world with limited resources and dangerous fauna. The display shifted to show the hunting grounds, a planet of jagged mountains, acid rivers, and predators that had evolved to kill with terrifying efficiency. It was a world where even seasoned Valdari hunters faced mortal danger. The humans survived the first day, Zeth Prime said, his voice growing quieter. Then the second. By the end of the first week, they had not only survived, they had begun to thrive. The council watched in stunned silence as the hologram revealed the humans' adaptation. Unlike other hunted species that fled in panic or fought with desperate fury, the humans had done something unprecedented. They had learned. They studied our hunting patterns, Zeth Prime explained. They observed our ship's flight paths, mapped our sensor ranges, identified our thermal signatures. Within 10 days, they had reverse-engineered our technology using nothing but salvaged debris and indigenous materials. The footage showed humans crafting crude but effective energy weapons from crashed Valdari drones, building shelters that somehow deflected their hunters' scans, and setting traps that would have impressed the galaxy's most cunning predators. On day 12, Zeth Prime's voice cracked, the humans stopped being prey. They became predators. The hologram displayed the aftermath. Valdari hunting ships crashed and stripped of components, their crews missing. The humans had not just survived, they had turned the tables entirely. We sent rescue teams, Zeth Prime continued. 3 full battle groups with heavy assault craft and siege-class weapons. The humans captured 2 intact ships and learned to fly them within hours. Within days, they had reverse-engineered our FTL drives. A collective gasp rose from the council. Chamber. FTL technology typically took civilizations millennia to develop, even with guidance from more advanced species. The humans arrived at our homeworld 47 days after the initial hunt began, Zeth Prime said. They came not in stolen ships but in vessels of their own design, hybrids that combined our technology with innovations we had never conceived. The display showed the impossible. Human ships that moved like living things through space, adapting their configurations in real time, equipped with weapons that seemed to violate several laws of physics. They did not attack immediately, Zeth Prime explained. Instead, they delivered a message to the Valdari High Command. It was brief, spoken, in perfect Valdari despite the fact that they had only encountered our language for the first time 2 months prior. The chamber fell silent as a recording played. A human voice, calm and measured, spoke words that chilled every being present. We know where you live. We know how you think. We know what you fear. You hunted us once. You will not hunt us again. You will not hunt anyone again. Consider this your only warning. The humans departed without firing a single shot, Zeth Prime concluded. But they left behind something far more terrifying than any weapon. Certainty. Certainty that they meant every word they had spoken. Chancellor Orcs of the hegemony, whose species had conquered half the galaxy through pure military might, spoke for the first time. What happened next? The Valdari ceased all hunting activities immediately, Zeth Prime replied. Our entire culture built around the pursuit of dangerous prey ended that day. We chose survival over tradition. Wise choice, hissed Ambassador Krill, but this does not explain why other species have never hunted humans twice. Zeth Prime's expression grew grave. Because word spread. The Corvin raiders attempted to enslave human colonies 6 months later. Their entire fleet vanished. The only trace was a single transmission. We told you so. The hologram displayed a grim timeline. The Bloodclaw Syndicate's failed attempt to harvest human organs, resulting in their entire operation being dismantled from within by humans who had somehow infiltrated their most secure facilities. The Void Shepherd's effort to use humans in gladiatorial combat, which ended when the humans escaped and systematically destroyed every Void Shepherd stronghold in the sector. Every species that has attempted to prey upon humanity has faced the same fate, Zeth Prime explained. The humans do not simply defend themselves, they learn, adapt, and ensure that their predators can never threaten anyone again. But how? Chancellor Vorix demanded. How does a primitive species accomplish what our greatest military minds consider impossible? Zeth Prime paused, consulting his datapad. Our xenobiologists have studied this phenomenon extensively. Their conclusion is disturbing. Humans, they believe, evolved not as apex predators but as something far more dangerous, persistence hunters with the capacity for technological adaptation that borders on the supernatural. They are a species that literally evolved to never give up, he continued. When threatened, they do not simply fight or flee. They study, learn, adapt, and return stronger. It appears to be hardwired into their genetic structure. The chamber erupted in discussion. Species that had dominated their regions of space for millennia suddenly faced the reality that somewhere in the galaxy existed beings who could not be conquered, only avoided. The recommendation of the Valdari delegation, Zeth Prime announced, over the noise, is that humanity be granted immediate inclusion in the Galactic Council with full protections and rights, not because we respect them but because we fear them. And we have learned that fearing humans is the wisest response any species can have. As the council debated, none noticed the small observation probe that had been quietly recording their proceedings. None detected its transmission to a modest blue planet on the galaxy's rim, where a species once considered primitive received confirmation that their message had been heard and understood. On Earth, Director Sarah Chen of the United Nations Space Command closed the transmission log and smiled. Humanity had indeed learned an important lesson from their first contact with hostile aliens. The best way to avoid being hunted was to ensure that hunting humans became an extinction-level mistake. The galaxy was finally beginning to understand what humans had always known. They were never the prey. They were the patient hunters waiting for their turn.